Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive into the thrilling twists awaiting us on Friday, August 8th, where tensions escalate with Drew Kane's bold threats rattling Jen Sidwell. Emma Scorpio Drake's daring scheme teeters on the edge of disaster, and Sunnny Corinthos finally catches a break with some uplifting news. Fans are in for a roller coaster of dramatic developments that promise to keep everyone on the edge of their seats, blending high-stakes confrontations, heartfelt confessions, and strategic alliances in the ever-turbulent world of Port Charles. Kicking things off, Anna Devane finds herself in a race against time as she urgently alerts Felicia Scorpio to the perilous path her granddaughter Emma is about to embark on. Emma's bold initiative targets the enigmatic Professor Henry Hank Dalton, with plans set to unfold under the cover of night, potentially exposing long-buried secrets in his research lab. Anna, drawing from her vast experience as a former spy and WSB operative, might enlist Felicia's maternal instincts and local knowledge to intervene before it's too late. However, the plot thickens when young Giovanni Joe Palmieri steps up unexpectedly, volunteering to spearhead the risky lab infiltration himself, adding an element of youthful bravado that could either save the day or lead to unforeseen chaos. To bolster her efforts, Anna taps into her network of shadowy contacts, perhaps reaching out to old allies in international intelligence circles. This could involve discreet surveillance operations or even subtle sabotage tactics aimed at derailing Emma's impulsive actions. Meanwhile, whispers suggest Anna's attention might also shift toward monitoring mysterious activities in the coastal region of Dalmatia, where Dalton's connections could tie into larger global intrigues, including rare artifact smuggling rings that have long plagued the area. These added layers of espionage introduce a fresh sense of international flair to the storyline, heightening the suspense as Anna navigates the fine line between protection and overreach. Shifting focus to the younger generation, Trina Robinson takes on a protective role, passionately advising Emma to reconsider accepting the research assistant position offered by the controversial Professor Dalton. Trina's concerns stem from first-hand accounts, particularly Jocelyn Jack's stark warnings labeling Dalton as a manipulative figure, with a reputation for unethical behavior in academic circles. Drawing from her own experiences with trust and betrayal in Port Charles, Trina emphasizes the potential dangers, painting a vivid picture of how such a job could entangle Emma in a web of professional and personal hazards, including late-night lab sessions that might isolate her from friends and family. As their conversation deepens, it naturally evolves into matters of the heart, with Emma opening up about her growing affection for Joe. She describes how his unwavering loyalty in supporting the lab break-in plot has only amplified her feelings, highlighting moments of shared glances and quiet encouragements that have sparked a budding romance. To enrich this narrative, imagine Emma recounting a recent stolen moment where Gio's quick thinking during a practice run for the heist revealed his protective side, making her heart flutter even more. Trina, ever the wise confidant, might offer insights from her own romantic journey with Spencer Casadini, advising Emma to balance her emotions with caution amid the chaos, thus weaving in themes of young love tested by adventure. In another corner of town, Deputy Mayor Jordan Ashford arranges a crucial sit-down with Mayor Laura Collins to deliver the latest intelligence on the formidable Jen Sidwell, whose criminal empire continues to cast a shadow over Port Charles. Jordan's updates could include fresh details on Sidwell's expanding operations, such as underground dealings in black market diamonds that have recently surfaced in local ports, escalating the threat to the community's safety. Laura, grappling with her responsibilities and a history of personal losses, expresses reluctance to involve Jordan in any high-risk maneuvers, especially those linked to Sidwell's ongoing feud with Sunnny Corinthos, or potential takedown strategies that might require undercover work. Despite this, Jordan's determination shines through. She insists on proceeding, driven by her sense of justice and a personal vendetta against organized crime, perhaps fueled by memories of her late husband TJ's brushes with danger. This exchange not only underscores Jordan's resilience, but also introduces inventive elements, like a hypothetical encrypted file Jordan shares, containing intercepted communications that hint at Sidwell's next move, adding depth to their alliance and foreshadowing intense action sequences ahead. Meanwhile, family dynamics take center stage as Alexis Davis confronts her daughter, Christina Corinthos Davis, about her meddlesome actions in disrupting the budding romance between Molly Lansing Davis and Cody Bell. Alexis probes whether Christina harbors any regrets for inserting herself into the situation, perhaps by fabricating excuses or spreading subtle doubts that derailed what could have been a promising connection. Christina, caught in a moment of introspection, attempts to justify her interference as a protective sibling gesture, insisting it's ultimately for Molly's benefit to avoid heartbreak. Yet, beneath her bravado, a flicker of guilt emerges, especially when she recalls Molly's excited smiles during early dates with Cody at the stables. To expand this emotional arc, envision Christina sharing a new anecdote about a family dinner where Molly's disappointment was palpable, prompting Christina to question her own impulsive nature inherited from the Corinthos side. The scene delves into the complexities of sisterly bonds, with Alexis offering sage advice drawn from her legal expertise and past mistakes, encouraging Christina to make amends through a heartfelt apology, potentially setting the stage for reconciliation and growth within the Davis family. Across town, Brooke Lynn Quartermain brings a ray of optimism to Sunnny Corinthos, sharing encouraging updates that could ease his mounting pressures. Specifically, she reveals that the Quartermain family and Deception Cosmetics have agreed to keep the lid on the recent money laundering scandal, burying it deep to prevent any legal fallout or public scandal. This decision stems from a behind-the-scenes board meeting where Brooke Lynn advocated for discretion, emphasizing how exposing it could unravel not just Sunny's empire, but also the fragile peace among Port Charles' elite families. Sunnny, ever the strategist, might respond with a mix of relief and calculated gratitude, perhaps hinting at future favors in return, like providing security for Deception's upcoming product launches. Inventing a fresh detail, Brooke Lynn could mention a confidential document she's secured, outlining a cover story involving legitimate investments in eco-friendly beauty tech, which cleverly masks the illicit activities and adds a modern twist to the corporate intrigue. Tensions reach a boiling point with Drew Kane, who deliberately provokes Jen Sidwell by asserting his demands and subtly implying a shift in their precarious alliance if it ceases to serve mutual interests. In a charged confrontation captured in the preview, Sidwell retorts with a chilling question: "You wouldn't be threatening me, now would you?" This exchange highlights Drew's evolving assertiveness, possibly influenced by his Navy SEAL background, as he navigates the dangerous waters of their partnership. Adding inventive elements, picture Drew leveraging insider knowledge from his Quartermain ties, such as access to financial ledgers that could expose Sidwell's vulnerabilities, forcing the villain to reconsider his aggressive tactics against Sunnny. This bold move not only amplifies the rivalry, but also positions Drew as a wild card, potentially drawing in other characters like Jason Morgan for backup, in what could escalate into a full-blown showdown. Finally, Ava Jerome puts Ric Lansing's allegiance to the test, probing whether his priorities truly align with hers amid their tangled schemes. Ric might falter by placing Elizabeth Baldwin at the forefront of his affections, inadvertently proving to Ava that her decision to exclude him from a recent blackmail plot by consulting Alexis instead was a wise one. This loyalty check could involve a heated argument where Ric defends his feelings for Elizabeth, citing their shared history and co-parenting of Cameron, which clashes with Ava's cutthroat ambitions. To heighten the drama, introduce a new layer where Ava uncovers a secret message Ric sent to Elizabeth, warning her about impending dangers, thus confirming his divided loyalties. ABC General Hospital spoilers tease that this rift between Ric and Ava is far from over, with more explosive conflicts on the horizon that could reshape alliances and ignite fresh vendettas in Port Charles. Next, we will explore the intriguing possibilities of a shocking encounter between Jocelyn Jacks and Britt Westburn, as their paths might cross in the most unexpected way during a high-stakes undercover operation at the luxurious Five Poppies Resort. Diving right into the heart of the drama, whispers from the set suggest that Jocelyn Jacks and the presumed deceased Britt Westburn are on a collision course for a jaw-dropping reunion that could upend everything in Port Charles' shadowy world of secrets and alliances. This potential twist stems from a covert mission that's already brimming with deception, where the serene backdrop of the Five Poppies Resort in the sun-drenched coastal haven of Dalmatia hides layers of intrigue far deeper than anyone anticipates. As the storyline unfolds, viewers can expect the unexpected, with personal histories resurfacing and loyalties tested in ways that echo the soap's tradition of resurrecting the past to fuel future conflicts. To add a fresh layer to this setup, imagine the resort's opulent grounds, complete with private villas overlooking the Adriatic Sea and hidden gardens perfect for clandestine meetings, serving as the ideal stage for such a dramatic revelation, blending romance, espionage, and the supernatural element of a ghost from Jocelyn's past coming back to life. At the core of this operation is WSB Chief Jack Brennan, who has cleverly dispatched Jocelyn Jacks and her partner Vaughn on a delicate assignment, instructing them to masquerade as blissful newlyweds for an intensive 2-week stay at the resort. This elaborate ruse isn't just about playing house. It's a strategic cover to delve into a web of mysteries that have pivoted away from the initial target, the enigmatic Professor Henry Hank Dalton, whose shady academic pursuits once dominated the investigation. Now, with fresh intel pointing to broader conspiracies possibly involving international smuggling rings tied to ancient artifacts unearthed along Dalmatia's rugged coastline, Jocelyn and Vaughn must blend seamlessly into the resort's elite crowd, attending couples retreats and sunset dinners while secretly gathering evidence, inventing an extra twist to heighten the tension. Picture Jocelyn practicing her alias, perhaps adopting the name Julia Vaughn, to match her husband during mock scenarios back in Port Charles, where she confides in close friends about the butterflies of pretending to be in love, all while masking her underlying anxiety about the mission's dangers, which could include encounters with armed guards patrolling the resort's perimeter under the guise of security. What makes the scenario even more electrifying is that Jocelyn would be utterly blindsided by the prospect of bumping into Britt Westburn at the Five Poppies, a woman she firmly believes met a heroic end while shielding her from the deadly clutches of Heather Weber's infamous poisoned hook attack. In Jocelyn's mind, Britt's sacrifice was the ultimate act of redemption, a poignant closure to a life marked by complex family ties and moral ambiguities, leaving Jocelyn with a debt of gratitude that time hasn't diminished. The shock of seeing Britt alive and, well, perhaps sporting a new disguise with sun-kissed hair and resort attire would hit Jocelyn like a tidal wave, forcing her to question everything from Britt's fake death to the motives behind her disappearance. To enrich this emotional bombshell, envision Jocelyn flashing back to that fateful night in her thoughts, recalling Britt's final words of encouragement and the warmth of her embrace, now contrasted against the vibrant, alive version strolling the resort's marble-floored lobbies, potentially involved in her own undercover agenda that intersects with Dalton's lingering mysteries. The beauty of this setup is that Jocelyn and Britt could cross paths in any number of everyday spots around the sprawling resort, turning a mundane moment into a pulse-pounding confrontation, perhaps even in the elegant ladies' room, adjacent to one of the fine dining venues. Picture this: Jocelyn, immersed in her role, shares a candlelit dinner with Vaughn at the resort's acclaimed seaside restaurant, where they discuss coded clues over plates of fresh Mediterranean seafood, only for Jocelyn to step away for a quick freshen-up. In a stroke of dramatic irony, she might literally bump into Britt while reaching for a towel or adjusting her makeup in the mirror, their eyes locking in mutual astonishment that spirals into a whirlwind of hushed exclamations. Jocelyn could blurt out a barrage of questions. "How are you here? Everyone thinks you're gone," while Britt, ever the quick thinker, counters with her own curiosities about Jocelyn's apparent honeymoon bliss under a false identity, probing if this is tied to some larger scheme involving old enemies like the Casadinis, adding inventive flair. This encounter might include a near miss with a resort attendant interrupting, forcing the women to duck into a stall for a frantic whisper session, where echoes of their shared history, Britt's Obricht family connections, and Jocelyn's Jack's lineage surface, amplifying the stakes with hints of unresolved grudges from Port Charles' turbulent past. From there, the situation could evolve into a tense negotiation of secrecy, with Britt proposing a mutual pact: you keep my secret, and I'll keep yours, ensuring neither exposes the other's presence at the resort. Britt might emphasize the dire consequences of blowing her cover, perhaps revealing she's deep into her own investigation against a syndicate that faked her death for protection, while assuring Jocelyn that silence is the key to survival. For Jocelyn, this deal presents a moral quandary. Breaching it could jeopardize her standing with Brennan, who might view her omission as a betrayal, potentially costing her this new role in the WSB's operations and straining her relationships back home. Yet, the profound debt Jocelyn feels owing her very life to Britt's bravery might tip the scales, compelling her to agree, especially if the meeting occurs out of Vaughn's earshot, allowing Jocelyn a moment of private reflection on themes of loyalty and redemption. To expand this dynamic, imagine Britt slipping Jocelyn a discreet note with a cryptic warning about hidden dangers at the resort, like bugged rooms or surveillance drones disguised as birds, forging an unlikely alliance that could lead to collaborative sleuthing sessions under the stars, all while Jocelyn grapples with the guilt of withholding such a monumental secret from her mission partner. Complicating matters further, Jocelyn's potential silence carries ripple effects, particularly since Jason Morgan is already en route to Dalmatia on his own quest to verify rumors of Britt's survival, setting the stage for his emotional reunion with her that could intersect with Jocelyn's path. If Jocelyn spots Britt first and chooses to stay mum, she might find herself in a web of deception when Jason arrives, forcing her to decide whether to confide in him, her trusted uncle figure, maintain the pact, risking fallout if Jason discovers her prior knowledge. This dilemma adds a thrilling undercurrent, as Jocelyn weighs her obligations to family against the bonds of gratitude, potentially leading to intense confrontations upon their return to Port Charles. Inventing a new element here. Suppose Jocelyn overhears Jason's rival plans via secure comms device, prompting her to leave anonymous clues for him at the resort, like a marked map in a lobby book, subtly guiding him toward Britt without directly breaking her word, thus blending espionage tactics with personal ethics in a fresh narrative twist. Next, we will delve into the candid revelations from veteran actor Maurice Benard about his enduring journey as Sunnny Corinthos, and his thoughtful musings on what lies ahead in his storied career. For more than 3 decades, Maurice Benard has been an iconic fixture on ABC's General Hospital, captivating audiences with his powerful portrayal of the complex mob boss Sunnny Corinthos, a role that has evolved from a short-term gig into a cornerstone of daytime television drama. Since bursting onto the scene in 1993, following a memorable stint on All My Children, where he honed his skills in intense, character-driven narratives, Benard has navigated Sunnny through countless twists, including high-stakes rivalries, family heartbreaks, and personal battles with bipolar disorder that mirror real-life issues. What started as a brief appearance meant to shake up Port Charles' underworld quickly transformed into a lifelong commitment, thanks to Benard's magnetic presence and the writer's decision to expand Sunny's arc, incorporating elements like his turbulent romances and business empires that have kept viewers hooked. To add a fresh perspective, envision Benard reflecting on early filming days when he improvised key scenes, such as Sunny's first confrontation with rivals, injecting raw emotion that convinced producers to extend his contract indefinitely, turning what could have been a fleeting villain into a multifaceted anti-hero, whose storylines often draw from Benard's own advocacy for mental health awareness. Beyond the bright lights of the General Hospital set, Benard has carved out a meaningful platform as the host of the insightful State of Mind podcast, where he dives deep into conversations about mental wellness, personal growth, and the human experience, often featuring fellow soap opera stars who share their behind-the-scenes triumphs and struggles. This venture allows Benard to connect with fans on a more intimate level, discussing topics ranging from coping with anxiety to building resilience, while inviting guests like former co-stars to reminisce about memorable plot lines and offer advice on balancing fame with well-being. Inventing an engaging detail. Picture a recent episode where Benard hosted a virtual roundtable with alumni from various soaps, exploring how portraying emotionally charged roles, such as Sunny's breakdowns, has influenced their real-life perspectives on therapy and self-care, thereby extending the podcast's reach to inspire listeners facing similar challenges in their daily lives. In a recent guest spot on the popular soapy podcast, Benard opened up in a lively discussion moderated by Rebecca Buttig, who highlighted the remarkable longevity of soap legends like John McCook from The Bold and the beautiful and Eric Bredin from The Young and the Restless, both of whom have continued performing vibrantly into their 80s, setting a benchmark for enduring careers in the industry. This prompted a direct question about whether Benard envisions himself steering Sunny Corinthos through Port Charles chaos for many more years, sparking a heartfelt response that shed light on his personal limits and aspiration. To enrich this segment, imagine Benard sharing an anecdote about watching classic episodes of those shows during his downtime, drawing parallels between Bredin's iconic Victor Newman and Sunny's own power plays, which fueled his admiration for actors who maintain such high standards over time, all while emphasizing the unique demands of soap opera pacing that require constant energy and focus. Benard responded with refreshing honesty, admitting uncertainty about sustaining his role for decades ahead, not due to a lack of passion, but because of practical considerations about his stamina and commitment to delivering top-tier performances. He explained, "I don't know, in all honesty, if I can last that long, and not because I don't want to," underscoring his dedication to authenticity by adding that he wouldn't continue on General Hospital unless he could give at least 90% effort, a standard he holds himself to amid the rigorous demands of daily filming. At 62, he speculated on perhaps another 2 or 3 years before reassessing, a timeline that resonates with fans who followed Sunny's evolution from a ruthless operator to a more introspective figure grappling with inner demons. Adding a creative twist, Benard might have elaborated on a hypothetical scenario where Sunny's storyline culminates in a grand exit involving a reflective retirement arc, allowing the character to pass the torch to younger generations in Port Charles, blending nostalgia with forward momentum that could open doors for new narratives. Co-host Greg Reichart chimed in supportively, encouraging Benard to prioritize his own well-being above all, a sentiment Benard echoed by revealing that his decision to step away would be guided by his mental health, stating he'd instinctively know when the time is right to retire. This emphasis on self-awareness highlights Benard's advocacy work, reminding listeners that even in the high-pressure world of entertainment, personal boundaries are crucial. To expand this idea inventively, consider Benard describing a routine he follows, like journaling after intense scenes as Sunny, which helps him gauge his emotional bandwidth and ensures he remains fully present for pivotal moments, such as family reunions or explosive confrontations that define the show's appeal. When the conversation turned to alternative career paths outside acting, Benard enthusiastically named boxing or law as his dream pursuits, clarifying that his interest in becoming a lawyer extends far beyond portraying one on screen. Perhaps inspired by the intricate legal battles often woven into General Hospital's plots, he playfully dodged specifics on whom he'd represent, hinting at a fascination with high-profile cases, and revealed his avid viewership of true crime staples like Dateline, 20/20ths, and gripping Netflix documentaries that fuel his imagination. Inventing an additional layer, Benard could have shared a fun story about sparring in a charity boxing event years ago, where he channeled Sunny's tough guy persona, or confessed to binge-watching legal thrillers that make him ponder what-if scenarios, like defending a character like Sunny in a real courtroom drama, adding a relatable, multifaceted dimension to his off-screen persona. Did you catch Maurice Benard's eye-opening interview on the Soapy podcast? Are you staying tuned to ABC General Hospital to see how Sunny Corinthos' saga continues to unfold? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insider scoops and spoilers.